Dungeons has just come out now, and there are some items that every player needs even if they're just starting out. These items range from good for players who are just starting to do the entrance of dungeons to good for players who've been doing up to floor 3. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you do enjoy the video. Only a small percentage of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, and it's free, and you can just change your mind later if you don't want to be subscribed. The first item is a good item for all players, whether you're starting at entrance or you're starting at floor 3. This item is the Spirit Leap. The Spirit Leap's ability is that when you right click it, you have the choice to teleport to any player that's on your dungeon team. If you don't usually explore in dungeons, you might not know that this item even exists. At least that's what it was like for me. I only found out about it because some of my teammates who do explore told me about it. But if I were to never explore, I would probably not even know this item exists. You can buy a stack of them for about 60k on the AH as a bin, so there's literally no reason for you not to just have these handy for when you want to get out of a tight situation, or you just want to go to your teammates without actually having to traverse the dungeon. The next item you might need is the Scarf series of talismans. Even if you can't afford any of the more expensive versions of the talisman, even the Scarf Study is a perfect talisman to get because it's so useful in dungeons because of that small boost to class XP. So if you're looking to grind dungeons slightly effectively, you're going to need to get yourself at least the Scarf Studies, but more importantly, you should get yourself something like the Scarf's Thesis or the Scarf's Grimoire for the most effective grinding. Then, for healers or tanks, another really good item for you to get is the Heavy Armor set. The Heavy Armor set is a must for any tank or healer even, if they want to get some decent defense. It's extremely good for its price, and even if you can only get the blue variant, it's really good as it's so cheap and can sometimes be just as good as perfect. But if you can get your hands on the epic variant, which in reality is not too expensive, you can outclass tier 12 perfect simply because you can star the item, which makes it better as it is a dungeon item, which will give it a better gear score compared to something like perfect tier 12. A full epic heavy set will not put you even over 2 million coins compared to something like perfect tier 12 where one piece costs almost 3 times the price. We then have the Zombie Soldier set. While the stats of the set don't seem to be that high or anything extraordinary, even the full set bonus looks pretty mediocre. It's actually one of the best sets for dungeons in the game, and some people even stand by it as better than adaptive. Since I haven't used it that much, I cannot vouch that it is actually better than adaptive, but I can say that it is a pretty good budget alternative to something like adaptive. The Zombie Soldier Legendary set is priced decently high, but is just slightly under the price of a full adaptive set. So if you don't enjoy using something like adaptive and want to try a different set and for much cheaper, then the Zombie Soldier set is a great alternative to something like adaptive. The final item I'll be talking about is the Adaptive Blade. The Adaptive Blade is basically the adaptive armor's ability but put onto a sword. The thing is, because you have to be holding the sword to get the ability, it is always not the best option for most players. So for someone like a berserker, a healer, and even a tank, it's a good sword to have. But for mage and archer, it really isn't that good. The Adaptive Blade is for sure, as of now, the best weapons for both the tank and the berserker. Simply by looking at an aspect of the dragon with all these enchants and the fabled reforge, it is less damage than a fully clean adaptive blade. If you look at the numbers in brackets, which is the damage it will be dealing in dungeons, which is 256.7, and compare that to this AOTD, you can see that this non-enchanted adaptive blade will end up being better simply from the damage. Simply, if I put a few more enchants and maybe star the sword, this thing will be destroying anything like the AOTD, even with the Dragon Pet. So you're going to need to get yourself this if you want to be a good berserker, and it's nice to have if you want to be a good tank that can deal quite a bit of damage. So if you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing to support the channel, and goodbye.